It's airbags to help cause the back of your truck not to sag. Say you got a camper or a trailer or both, and you don't want the back of your truck to sag, you use these so that you can fine tune it with an air compressor and get this to help out and get your truck just nice and level. It's like an air spring for your truck. So my truck has rear coil springs, so it's real tricky. You can't use a normal airbag kit. It took a while for this to come out. This is a Firestone 2580 kit for the new Rams that have the 3/4 ton and have the coil springs in the rear. Nice thing about the coil springs, the reason why they did them is so that they could do a spring setup like this in place of the spring. So this is a little bit going around instead of doing it the factory way. But anyway, let's check it out and see what we got. Problem I've been having is I get the tail end sagging a little bit now that I've done a leveling kit on my truck. It's not level, the back's actually a little bit low. We've got our instruction manual here. You know, airbags are traditionally done on leaf springs. You'll have a block or whatever, the leaf spring here, and you just mount onto that. But this doesn't make any sense. Boy, something on this, because these are beefy. Apparently the paint on it absolutely sucks. I mean, I haven't even done anything with it and it's already chipping off. Let's see how thick this is. That's 6.7 millimeters. What is that in inches? That is 1/4 inch, a little over 1/4 inch. Boy, this thing is seriously, I hope this doesn't rust, but this stuff just, the coatings on this are terrible. So looking at the instructions, this goes like that. There's a spacer bracket that goes in there to help eat up space. These look like they're mirror image of each other or the same. You decide. This looks like Frankenstein. This is seriously custom. The finish on this is about as crappy as anything I've ever seen. I mean, where is this even made? This is made in, this came from Indianapolis. I hate to slam on them because they were the first to market and they did pretty good getting it to market quick. I don't see anything. But anyway, here's your hose, there's your airbag. Pretty fun stuff. That's all it is. It's really tough. I mean, think about your tires. Your tires hold the weight of the whole vehicle. So, I mean, these are tough and they're reinforced like tires are. Here's your hardware kit. There's no pictures online to show how this is supposed to look. I mean, there's just seriously no information on any of this. I'm just as clueless looking at the instructions. I'm just going to have to take these items. There's that spacer, space filler, which apparently is a 8796, give or take. Is that an 8 at the beginning or a 5? I can't tell. Oh, mercy. It's only supposed to take an hour to put this on, but I'm just going to have to test fit everything to just try to guess where in the heck this is supposed to go. So this is a 5794. This is a 5793. I say for just these are like 200 bucks. I paid $350 for the kit. I got from sdtruck.com. Tried to work with them to see about making a video or doing something in trade. Never heard back from the marketing guy. It's been like over a week. So we got 2 of these brackets here. We got the Frankenstein ones. Apparently it's different right and left. We've got these, which seem to be pretty universal. These bolt to the bottom of this, I believe. But it looks like these bolting to the frame. So apparently this is supposed to go to this. It's supposed to line up with the holes like that. I say usually I don't even have to read the instructions, I can figure it out, but looking at the truck, they had to be pretty dang creative to come up with a way to make this work. Tell you what, it's gonna kinda, dude, look at this thing. This thing is intense. This is more intense than most camping trips. Wow, look at that. That's just some crazy stuff. This seems parallel here. I don't know what's going on with that. I should be able to read where that goes looking at the vehicle tomorrow. This is a Firestone 2580 airbag kit. It's made to fit the Dodge Ram 2500 with the coil in the rear. This is a Tradesman, So you jack it up by the front of the spring mount or the control arm mount, and then put jack stands under the frame like I have here. Next thing you do is pop off the center cap and get the wheel out of the way. About the other way. Doesn't matter what order you take these off, just so long as you do the star pattern and do opposites, putting them back on. Good way to get the wheel off is crouch down, put your elbows on your knees, and just lean back, come off nice and straight. Good lands, these suckers are heavy. These steel wheels add a lot of weight. So this is where our new airbag kit's gonna live. But this is your bump stop, so if your springs go too far, it'll hit this. So we gotta pull these off. Looks like they're about 15 millimeters. So we'll set these aside. We got some tapered fancy stuff coming up for these. Alright, well those are hexagonal, but they sure didn't move at all. I'm saying those are welded in there, so you don't need a wrench. There's no instructions really for how to do this, no video or anything. That's why I'm here. So what you have is you've got these brackets here, and these brackets will go up in there. Basically this bump stop here, I just took the bolts out. They're just 15 millimeter, just zip zip and they're out. An important note is, given that this isn't going to be there, your new bump stop is going to be 5 psi. If you have at least 5 psi in there, then your airbags will work as a bump stop. If you have 0 psi in there, then they're not going to work as a bump stop, and that's no good. So these go in like this, and you use the blue with the red Loctite or an Allen bolt. 6 millimeter, that's what it is. So it's a metric hex Allen. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an adapter, put this up in there, and you'll notice that these are nice and flat. They're nice and flush when they're in there. They're countersunk. Set to tighten. It's a really stupid idea to try to start this like that. You should do it by hand, even if it's just by the socket by hand, so you don't strip it out by having it cross-threaded or having it a little crooked to start with. And as near as I can tell, these are perfectly centered. These have to be perfectly drilled or they won't work. So how did Firestone do? I don't know. It looks pretty good actually. You see how there's a tail hanging off? It had the tail in the back. We're going to take a 13 millimeter socket. We're going to pull off the brake hose. Just drop that out. The curved part of this needs to be to the back. And this is going to go up in here somehow. I'm going to try this one first. See if it fits. If it does, great, and if not, come up with something else. Our little plate goes with the flat side on the front. Alright, we'll set that to tighten. It's got to go right back out because that's not going through so good, is it? I think we're supposed to run this through our brake hose to begin with, but I gotta take it all off anyway. This is just test fitting. That's what we're doing here. Make sure I hit the hole in the front. Said there's a hole. No drilling. Drop this out completely and look at it with a light. So here's what I'm working with. I have this. It screws in the same spot and it's threaded the same as the bolt that holds the brake line onto the back. And that's all fine and good. But when we get up here in the front, you're going to notice that the bolt doesn't line up. We're going to have to go sideways, so bear with me here. It's the only way this camera is going to even fit in there. As you look in there, you can see the bolt hits just above it. So we need a hole big enough to hit the bolt through just above that hole. So is there no drilling? No, there is drilling because our bolt's hitting right here. So let's make a hole. So everything's just mocked up right now. I don't have anything tightened down. I'm just test fitting because I can't even tell from the instructions what side's what. So this 5793 fits on the driver's side. See, if you look back in here, you can see that that lines up, the angles are correct. You see how that kicks off? It's wide close up and then it narrows as you go back, and our bracket follows suit. This is nice and flush and parallel as you look at the top of this thing. It's just right there with it. So 5793 fits for there. As far as the angle for the line to come out, I'm going to run my line to the inside. I'm going to aim it in this way. So I'm going to take my marker. I'm going to draw an arrow. That's going to be tough to get to later, kind of, but I'm going to have my arrow draw this way. And as far as this goes, all my angles are correct here. So I'm going to tighten the bottom bolt that goes into here to with this. So I'm going to draw this line here and this line here. I know that's black, but it still marks on it anyway. These Milwaukee ink saw, I just call them mark saw, but Milwaukee ink saw, that doesn't roll off the tongue. I'll put a link in the description for these. These are awesome. Great pens for this kind of stuff. Let me show you the hole that I drilled or marked off here. You're going to want to do the same. You can see that it's a little circle that's just a little higher and a little more inboard than the hole that's there. So I've got this all marked off. I'm going to take a crescent wrench. Now these things, these fittings here that go in and out, you got to be careful with those because they're soft and you don't want to ding them or make them out of round. They got to be perfectly round to get a good seal on that line. So to save yourself a headache and leaks and all that hassle later, just make sure to go ahead and only wrench the back side, and don't let this part of your wrench forward of that or you're going to be sorry and saggy. So now I'm all lined up with my lines. That's about as tight as it wants to go. I'm well into that paint on thread stuff. So now I got to take my bracket and remember the lines here. So I just take this and put it on like that, and I'll be in great shape. And that way when I go to put my line in, it'll clear that nut and bolt and get in there just barely. It's not a lot of room, but it's just enough. So I can go ahead and take my nuts, get them in place and zip them down. They're ready to ride. So I'll try to create as much room with the little bit of play and slop that I have. Try to create as much room as I can for that air fitting. Make it how I want it to be. So given that this is going to be inaccessible later, I'm going to take some Loctite thread locker and I'm going to put some on that and then put this on. Remember when I marked this? This one's kind of important to get it right, because this is gonna, you can't change your angle on this portion here. Those are set. The only way that you can pivot it or get it to line up properly is how it's situated in the bottom. And like I say, I'm gonna tighten the crap out of this. I don't want it coming out, so I'm gonna use some thread locker, at least blue. Someone got some 5.5 millimeters. They're not 7/32 or 3/16. It's neither of those. So you go to metric and sure enough, 5.5 millimeter. You know, usually you don't have a setup with this 5.5 millimeter, which sucks. So anyway, I'm gonna quit whining and complaining about the 5.5 millimeter, but that's what it is. Make a note, tell your friends. There we go. Put some Loctite on this. I don't ever want to see this again. So I'll just Loctite it good. But if I do need to get into it, I can get it. You see it's facing right there. This is going to cause this to interface with the frame at the correct angle. That's important. Send that sucker home. Need that again in a minute. So this is ready to rock. I mean, I can go ahead and bolt this in. Oh wait, no I can't. I have to drill a hole. This kit's a no drill kit. No drilling required. Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. Turn my drill crazy upside down. Stick it back up between here. Discover I can't drill a hole in this without moving the frickin' shock. And then realize I'm gonna use my plasma cutter, so yeah, go ahead and pull the shock, undo this one and swing it out of the way. Enjoy. That no drilling statement, that's really something, because it seems like when you have to go in and make an extra hole, it's like you just got sucked into the fabrication process of this thing, and that's why you buy a kit, is it's already fabricated, right? Right. There we go. So I buzzed the paint off so that we've got a good ground right here. I've got the air compressor hooked up. I got the 220 running on the plasma cutter. It's a drag gun, you know, not to be confused with a mythical creature or dinosaur or whatever it was that everybody's writing about. I've got this cleared out, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this part. It's one of those fortunately, unfortunately things. Fortunately, there's a hole to start with. Unfortunately, that makes it weaker. Let's go ahead and run our bolt through. See if we need to clean it up any better or not. This side's threaded. Should be hitting or going through by now. That's a bullseye. That's pretty clean cut, says the guy with a beard. Awesome. That was easy. Things like this is why I'm really glad I got a plasma cutter. I think I paid 400 bucks and got this from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for this too. It really saves your butt when you're in a hurry and you just need a hole quick, please. I figured I'd have a bladder airbag that fits inside the spring. Just tuck this up in here. You see this? This has coil springs. That's why this is all this big pain in the butt 2580 business. Figure we throw into those ones that just slips inside and you inflate it and you're done. Super easy. But no! We got to get out the plasma cutter. Give Firestone the business on their no drill kit. Alright, so remember your bracket back here. Got to get it through there. And then find a home. You do good for your home. Happy Gilmore moment. A couple folks are chuckling. Alright, so we'll send this in there and just kind of cruise for a minute and then slow down and get careful for this part. How lucky are we? Feeling pretty good about that. How are we feeling about this 32-piece set? So I'm just going to send this one all the way through until it goes bump bump. Because it's threaded on this side. And then I'm going to take my nut and just run it back on this side. Alright. We are not far off, folks. You don't want anything extra sticking out this side and getting into your tire. So I'm going to send them in this way. So you got to jack up the axle or extend the airbag, whatever it takes. Just got to get these bolts to go through the holes. There we go. Okay, now with this bolt going through there, it's going to make it really tough to get that airline in. Maybe I should have run my airline straight through here. This airbag install is just about done. Are these also 13? That would be nice. Half inch, 13 millimeter. I'll dig that. Oh, come on. Who's doing this kit? It's the thoughtful little things that you can do to just make everything that, I don't know. Get rid of your extension because it robs you of torque. It's like a torsion spring. Like on an Astro. There we go. At least in 3/8 drive, half inch, not so much. 14 millimeter or 9/16. That's what this is. 14 millimeters tight, but it goes. Looks like they just gave you the one piece. You want to have this cut at exactly a 90-degree angle. You don't want this to be off at all. And the reason why is you got to push it in there. It'll go in and seal good and do good if you do it right. I'm just going to push it in there. It's already straight from the factory. You push in. So that worked out okay after all. So you push it, it's nice and protected. You push it in, get it nice and snug, and when you pull out, you see how it extends? Now I'm pulling pretty good. It's not going anywhere. So that line's in. I'll pull out how much length I need and then I'll run it and fish it. If I get a little dust in here, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. But just like in golf, you got to replace your divot. If you're going to get out the plasma cutter and make a big dang mess for your ground and everything. I just like the engine enamel. I'll put a link in the description for this. But it's engine paint, 500-degree heat's not going to mess it up. You don't need primer. Just bam, bam, bam. I'm spraying over dirt and everything. I'm a wild man. Anyway, I don't want to, I just want this to just blend in like it's not even there, to be honest with you. Keep stuff clean. This looks glossy, but it's gonna dry just nice flat black. I just like everything to just kind of be quiet visually in the wheel well. Look at the body lines, look at my cool wheels, look at something else. So, bright red hose, how do you like that? I don't. Whatever. Sweet, turned upside down. Make sure it's good to go next time, not plugged up. So before we call this done, let's get a flashlight and let's get a full tour of this whole thing. So here's where your bump stop is. Airbag goes in that position. Flat plate in the front, curved plate in the back, extra spacer plate also in the front. Your blue bolts hold your top bracket in. These cross through like that. You got your big flat plate here, so you don't rip your tire to snot. And then you've got your curved angled one, angled side that goes in here to meet this crazy angle. There's your coil springs on the inside. I think there's also a kit you can get where you replace the whole coil spring with an air spring, but this preserves the nice ride that you have with the coil spring, so I'm told. You look at cars and fancy vehicles that ride nice, they got McPherson struts with coil springs, so maybe there's some truth to that. There's just not a lot of room to do airbags, except for where we did it. See, we're right next to the spring here. Can't go inboard of that, and in between, I don't know how you'd do that. When you have one side high and one side low, it would hit, so there's a little bit of risk. It looks like there's plenty of room between the tire and the bump stop. See the bump stop up there? So you can stick out quite a bit and not hit the tire. They say maintain at least a ½ an inch. I'm sure we're doing that. So there's a little bit more drilling. You got to drill out where your screws went for your license plate. The factory ones, they're just 10 millimeter. They look like this. You just pull them out. Now on the back, so this is just plastic. There's no metal, there's no reinforcement. It's just really flimsy plastic. Anyway, on the back side, it's elongated. Basically, it's longer. And when you drill it out, it'll make a hollow, but there's still a tube. And it'll eat up all of this room right here, so it'll basically be flush once it sticks out. Now you can see why it's important to get these to stick out a little bit, because if you don't have them sticking out, there's no way you could get an air chuck on there. And if you don't get the air chuck on there, you're not going anywhere, especially up. So that's 45 PSI. Pretty good little lift, huh? So you gotta snap these off. I had one in there, I was trying to pull it out, wouldn't come, and it snapped the whole thing out, and then I was able to get it off afterward. The other one I basically just chewed all to pieces and it took forever. But plastic's easy to drill, you can drill that. Then you just press a line in it the same way that you saw the other. These little caps are handy because they're pass-through. And when I say pass-through, I mean like passing gas. It goes right through the thing. So you just kind of push it in and it depresses the valve stem. And typically, if you've seen these before, you think, well great, you just pull out the valve stem core. But they don't turn. So here's what your suspension's like on just the coils. Here's what it looks like when you put air in it. I'm going to put about 30 PSI, 40 PSI. So that's 40 PSI right there. Now here's an example of what you can expect out of height difference or height adjustment from this kit. I do have in the back of the truck right now about 600 or 700 pounds of tools and accessories. So that's about 60 PSI. Usually 55 is about the limit you want to go. So you got about 2 inches. So for the review side of things, I've been using these airbags now for about a week and a half. Done a lot of towing actually. I've moved a 22-foot trailer full of canned goods, 3 stacks high. I helped move my parents, my sister. I've towed, what vehicles? I've towed a Jeep Grand Cherokee, I've towed a Chevy pickup truck. It was a Suburban. And I've also towed a little tool truck, a little S10 with a bunch of tools and equipment and junk in the back. And I've also towed something else. But anyway, I've had some experience with it, and it's just been awesome. Awesome. Man, was that the right move. You want to make sure that you don't have them inflated a lot when you're not towing anything heavy, because it makes it feel like your old 2001 Dodge Ram. You know, it feels like it's got the leaf springs on the back. It's kind of a rough ride, but when you have the trailer on, it's awesome. When you're on the freeway, it doesn't sag, you don't swim. I had a problem when I made my mind I was going to get something one way or another to go in the back of this. I was actually towing a Chevy pickup truck. It's a long bed, and it was, I don't know if it's big block or what, but I had it pulled up toward the front of the trailer, and it was just sagging the crap out of it. I should have pulled it back a little more. I thought, it doesn't matter, it won't matter. Going down the freeway, I'd get going 57 miles an hour, and all of a sudden it'd start swimming everywhere. When the speed limit's 65 and everybody else is doing 80, you don't want to be swimming, and you don't want to be swimming by surprise. So anyway, having these on there, I mean, it's not pursuit rated or anything like that. I wouldn't get in a police chase or anything with it, but it'll haul. I mean, literally, with the trailer back there, you can move, and it's just, you move about your lanes of travel, you know, easy as you please. You don't have to worry about it. It's just solid. So I really like it. It's made a big difference, and I'm really glad that I got it. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I do new videos every Sunday and every Wednesday. Try to make them informative. There's usually a lot of good tips in there, but there's always something. I mean, we did plasma cutting in this video. It's a no drill project, so there you go. Never know what you're going to learn. Cheers.